Right. Ashley Gordon. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad to have this talk with you.
Finally, right?
Yes, it's crazy. I was looking back at our timeline and when I first started following you, being a manifester myself, and I discovered your podcast, Badass Manifester. I reached out to you in 2020 in December.
Wow.
You started sharing your fertility journey then,
Yes.
back in December of 2020. And I offered to send you my book. That was kind of where it began when I befriended you. I'm like, I want to know her.
Yeah, that was so nice of you to do too. Like I was like, that was so sweet. And I got your book and I put it at the top of my closet. I was like, I'm never gonna need this book.
I was reading back through our messages, like checking in on you, and you're like, yeah, I just at some point you decided, yeah, now I will read it. But for a long
Yeah,
time, you shelved it, which
I
I think a
did.
lot of people don't ever think maybe they'll need IVF. Or I mean, I'd love for you to take
What?
us back and share your story. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I definitely was like, I'm not doing IVF. Like, there's no way. Like, I'm gonna manifest this pregnancy like on my own. I can do it on my own. We
Mm-hmm.
had been our first fertility appointment was like May 2019, and we just got like fully checked. And I went to this one doctor who was like, yeah, everything is normal. Like he even did this. Have you ever heard of a postcoital test?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So if you're listening and you don't know what that is, it's really glamorous. It's basically you have sex the night before you go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And then the next day when you're there, they basically like take a little sample from up there and they see if the sperm are still swimming around in your
Mhm.
fluid,
Mhm.
in your cervical mucus. And they put it under a microscope and they showed me. They were like, one time all the sperm were alive and like everything was good. And then another time all the sperm were dead.
Oh my.
So I thought maybe that's like the issue. Like maybe the sperm are dying. Maybe my pH just isn't balanced. Like that's kind of like where I was at the very beginning. And then the doctor there wanted to put me on Adderall.
Was this an OB that you were seeing at the time?
No, he was a fertility doctor.
Fertility doctor. Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of that Adderall thing.
Yeah. Tell me a little more.
I mean, I never heard of it. I mean, I know what Adderall is. I took it in college. Like it's like basically like, legal cocaine. But it's like he said that it helps. He's like 90% of the women in my practice are on Adderall and it helps you get pregnant. He didn't give me the science. Like he gave me like a packet to read that I didn't understand.
Um,
Um, but I was just like, it did not align with me at all. And I was like,
oh
I
my
can't do this. I
God.
can't do this. I can do with the postcoital test, if the sperm are dying, they want you to do like this douching thing in the shower before you have sex, like when you're ovulating. So we
Okay.
did that for like a few months to start.
Mm-hmm.
When that didn't work, they tracked my natural cycles. And I just said, you know what? This isn't for me. And I stopped going to their office like
Mm-hmm.
pretty much like right away. And I didn't do anything until a year later in 2020.
Okay. Okay.
So I went back in 2020. I did 3 IUIs. I'm assuming that everyone knows what an IUI is on here, but yeah.
Intrauterine insemination.
Yeah, I did 3 of those unmedicated natural cycles, no luck. And then I was like, I think I'm going to switch clinics.
Wow.
So I found another clinic. We started 3 more IUIs, medicated this time.
You did
And
three
I was
more
on,
of that. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So we did 6 altogether.
Mm.
And that was during the time when you had connected with me. So that was the time where I was just like, this is going to work.
Yeah.
That first IUI with the medication, I had 4 mature follicles and
Wow.
they were like, you could have triplets. Like, I mean, do you want that? And I was like, at this point, yes. Like, I don't care. Like, I mean, yeah, because we had my husband and I had been together for so long and we never used protection and I never been on birth control.
Mm-hmm.
And so my sister was like, don't you think that's weird that you haven't gotten pregnant? Like,
Mm.
no protection, no birth control. Like, I'm like, no, we were just careful, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. So after that first IUI with the I was so excited. I was like, Todd, this is happening. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And my hopes were like through the roof. And when that first cycle failed and nothing happened and there was no pregnancy, I was devastated. Like I just couldn't believe it. And the Clomid made me batshit crazy. Like really, like I was having like suicidal thoughts. Like it was really, really bad. And obviously I would never hurt myself in that way. I knew it was the medicine. I knew that it was not my like perception of reality was so skewed because of the medication. So I told them, and then they switched me to letrozole, which is a different kind of medication that helps you produce follicles. So we did 2 more rounds. And I remember we were in Florida when the cycle didn't work, the 3rd cycle. And at the time, that was my dad had died in like that time frame. My grandfather passed away. That was like October, November, December. And in October, my grandfather passed away. So I had a lot of grief going on in my body and in my heart and my spirit. And I don't think I really like connected the two in the moment. I was like, this could still work. You know what I mean? In my head. But looking back, I think that it just was not the right timing, you know?
January of 2021, you had shared that with me, that your IUI was unsuccessful, your dad had passed, and you were dealing with unexplained infertility at the time. You didn't know what was going on.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say that. It was totally unexplained. So I had an IUI on my birthday, which was December 28th. And my dad passed December 29th.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was really intense. And I remember my stepmom saying to me, like, he had issues and then he had COVID. And she was saying that the nurse let her talk to him and he wasn't, responsive at all, but he was listening, because they do, their spirits can listen. And she was like, you're not dying on your daughter's birthday, so you need to wait. And he waited until it was like 1:48 in the morning.
Oh my gosh, Ashley.
Yeah, it was really crazy.
Yeah, that grief. I mean, you were just going through so much at that time. And so we were staying in touch and messaging, and you shared in July of 2021. That is when you're like, I'm starting IVF. You messaged me. I remember the day. And you're like, I'm pulling out the book. And
I'm pulling out the book. Yeah.
It touched me on such a deep level.
Wait, there's a little bit in between.
Oh, okay.
I want to share it because I think spirit really led me to that moment of like messaging you. Like that was like a big, big moment for me. And in between, like so in February, we had a consult and the doctor was like, it's time for IVF. And I was like, no, like, I'm not ready for it. And Todd was like, yes, we're doing it. So from December to January, like basically January, we did nothing because our IUI failed. February, we had our consult. So from February to July, I took a break.
Oh, you took a break.
Okay. Yeah. And I just want to say, like, it's really important sometimes when you're on this journey to take a break. Sometimes a break is necessary.
Oh, essential. And I might have advised you on that too. Just really taking care of you, allowing yourself to grieve. You had been through so much and just 6-7 months had passed then, right? So
yeah, exactly. And during that time, I did some inner work around, like, I did some plant medicine. I did some mushroom ceremonies. I actually went and explored ayahuasca. I was like, I need to dig into myself more and see what is holding me back. Like, what is blocking this fertility? And I discovered so much. And, the plant medicine really helped me. Like in February, I did plant medicine that February, and all this divine feminine energy started like coming through me. And I was like, whoa, I've been taking such a masculine approach to getting pregnant. And it was just like, I wasn't soft. Like in your book, you talk about just like surrendering into the experience and softening into the experience and like, like making it this soulful experience. And I was not there. I was like masculine, pushing, controlling. And that was the energy that I was bringing to it. So it was an awakening period. And then I said to Todd, because he was like, what's our plan? And you don't have a plan when you're trying to get pregnant and you have infertility. Like,
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, if we don't get pregnant naturally by the end of the summer, then we'll do IVF.
Mm-hmm.
So it just so happened that I had ran out of thyroid medication. So random. And I'm like, where is this prescription even from? I don't even remember. Like I had had it for a while, like over a year. So I thought it was from this one fertility office that I had been to, but I called the most recent fertility office and they were like, South Jersey Fertility, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, oh my God, I called the wrong office. I called the office that I would call if I was going to move forward with IVF. And I just said, can I speak to the IVF nurse, please? And that was it. Like that was the start at like right when I messaged you. I think I messaged you right after that. And I was like, I'm going to do this.
Mm.
And
And
then I pulled your book out.
it takes a decision, right? Like it hit you, divine
It hit
intervention.
me.
Yeah. Oh
It hit me hard.
my God.
So I feel like all those other details are important on the journey. So I just wanted to share that.
Appreciate you sharing that. I'm so interested to hear more. Sometime we'll have to talk about the plant medicine and just all of it. Yeah, it's such an inner journey. And so you really took that power back within you to like deepen into, okay, how am I going to go about this in a different way?
100%. That's what I needed to do.
Yeah.
100%. And so it naturally was just like, all right, I'm doing this. And then I'll never forget the day that I took your book out. Because after I went in for the first consultation, I was like, okay, I really need to educate myself. I need to like get in this mindset. Like if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it differently.
Yeah.
And I remember taking your book to the pool and just hysterically crying. Like my mom was next to me. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, it's like she's reading my mind. It's like she's literally in my head. Like you were literally in my head. Every single word that you said from cover to cover was just like,
Oh my gosh.
holy shit. It was
Like
so
the best
impactful.
compliment ever. Thank you.
Yeah, it really was. Highly recommend your
Thank
book.
you so
Hold on.
much. Yeah. So you said to me, I feel seen. You messaged.
Yeah, I felt seen, felt really, really seen.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
so grateful for just your kind words. And you even shared it with Todd. I think you were like, this is how I feel. And you need to like
I did.
a little
I
bit about
did.
what it's like. Oh
I did.
my,
I was like, because as much as the men are with you and they support you and your partners, whatever, whoever your partner is,
mm-hmm,
it's different.
mm-hmm,
They're not experiencing it the way that you're experiencing it. And
mm-hmm.
so I felt like I wanted to be seen by him too. You know what I mean? I wanted him to understand what I was feeling
Yeah.
and like fully. So it helped me kind of like convey that emotion to him.
I'm so glad. It's wonderful to have a partner that can support you through this really emotional ride. And so you experienced a lot of setbacks. I know there were some delays with like your egg retrieval, and then you had COVID and like
Yeah. Yeah.
setbacks, which I know you get. And I write about that because it's like
Yes.
things show up that we can't control, and how we move forward and roll with them is a big part of this ride.
That helped me a lot in your book because as much as when I was reading it, I was like, I'm not going to have setbacks.
Things are gonna
Yeah, this is going to be smooth. But when I did have setbacks, I was like, this is normal. It made me normalize it. Just like, this is normal. This is to be expected. This is okay. I'm safe. So when we did 2 rounds of IVF. So we did 1 round at this one clinic locally by me. And right before I was about to start my egg retrieval process, I did get COVID, which pushed us back. And it really actually affected Todd's sperm count. Like it was not an ideal time. However, I believe it worked out for us because I feel like I had the natural antibodies and I feel like I still have them and all that good stuff. So that was definitely a setback. And I was like, oh my God, what does this mean? When something like pops up and you're like, what does this mean? Like, I feel, is this not meant to be anymore? Like, is this, but no, you can't go there. You have to just roll with it and surrender to it. So I'm like, all right, it's 2 weeks. it's not going to change our life. Or it was a month at that point because of, you have to go with your cycle. So that was the first setback. And, my experience at that clinic was horrible. I felt like a number. I felt like I wasn't treated fairly. When I had questions, I felt like the doctor brushed me off, like for ultrasounds. He's like, this isn't an appointment. This is an ultrasound. And I'm like, okay. And not to mention we are self-employed. So we didn't have insurance to cover anything. So everything was out of pocket. So we paid, I think it was $18,000 for the round of IVF.
Wow.
And, yeah, I mean, I had a good egg retrieval. I think I had like 12 follicles, I think. I don't know if I told you that. Can't remember, but
yeah, it's hard to remember.
And then like 7,
I think, I'm sorry.
Yeah, 7 fertilized, and we were so excited. We were like, okay, this is happening. And by the time we were waiting for the 6 days to pass to see how many, blastocysts and embryos we were left with, we had 1.
Yeah, I remember we were writing each other.
Yeah. And I know that feeling. And to be honest with you, I never, ever thought that I would have to do this twice or more than twice. Like, I never thought I would have to do it more than one time. I was like, it never crossed my mind. So to me, that was a major setback to even consider, oh my God, I might have to do this whole thing over again. Yeah. So we waited and we waited for those 10 days to see if our embryo was viable. And I just knew it wasn't in my heart. Like, I just knew, I was like, this isn't a healthy embryo.
Okay.
And so when I got that news, I remember like being at we were looking at floors for our house, and I was like at this store by myself. There's nobody in there. You had like a code to enter. And I was just sitting there in the silence, just like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
I felt so lost, hopeless, just like all that time and energy and money for nothing.
I felt the same way when ours, first round, none of them were healthy for our first people. And it's crushing. You just feel so kind of like out of control, and just your emotions are all over the place. I remember feeling numb too, just like a numbness, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Knowing that we were going to go through another egg retrieval, and were you in the same place? Like, we're going to do another egg retrieval no matter what.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay, we're going to have to do this again. But I knew I wasn't going to stay at that clinic because I felt like I didn't like the way I was treated. I didn't like the way it was handled. I didn't like the communication, and I didn't like I felt like their lab wasn't good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why. I just had this like instinct of like, how do you have so many that fertilize? To me, 7 was a lot. And then you get 1. Like, I just didn't understand.
You're hitting on something really important, and that's for everyone to feel really good about your clinic and your doctor. And that's a foundation, like 101.
I thought that all clinics were the same, to be honest. Like, I thought that every lab was the same, every clinic was the same. Like, you're going to be in like this like factory setting, like, like they put you in, they put you out, like this clinic vibe.
Yeah.
And the truth is that they're not. I just want to put that out there. Like, they are not the same. If you're not 100% confident or happy with your place, your doctor, your clinic, like, switch. And I had a different doctor every time I went, which I also didn't like.
Yeah, that's really hard.
Yeah. So the rest of the story is really cool.
Yeah, let's hear about that.
So I have a friend who had gone through IVF, and she had a very successful, all of her embryos were viable, and she loved her doctor, and it was just like a totally different experience than mine. And she actually quit her job. She was working in marketing for like a food company. And she asked them if they had an opening at the fertility clinic where she had worked, because she was just obsessed with it. She was like, you guys changed my life. Like, this is amazing. And she told me about this opportunity. She's like, I didn't want to tell you this before because I wanted this to work for you. But she said that her clinic opened an office in New York, and they're taking on 5 cases for women that had failed IVF cycles elsewhere. And they wanted to bring them in, look at their charts and see if they could do it better. And if they could, you could win a free IVF cycle.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Putting your manifestation powers at work.
Really, like for real. But at this point, I was just like, I had no clue where to go or what to do. So, and New York City is about 2.5 hours away from where I live. So in my head, initially, when she's like, I want you to go see my doctor, because her doctor was now working there. Okay. He's the creator of it. It's called Spring Fertility. I can't say enough about them. So I'm thinking to myself, how the hell am I going to go to New York for monitoring appointments? You know, you're going every day. Like, I was just like, I didn't know logistically how it was going to work. And she's like, just get a consult, please. Just get a consult. At this point, it was November 7th last year. So we're talking almost one whole year ago. Okay. This is crazy. Right now, as we record this, it's November 1st. Is that okay for me to say that?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So one whole year ago, I'm having this conversation with her and she's like, just get a consult. So for my husband's birthday, November 7th, we were in New York at this like crazy cool outlet mall. And it was Sunday. And she's like, and I got an appointment for Monday. We stayed an extra night. We were already in New York. We found a hotel on Points right across the street from the doctor's office.
Love it.
So everything was like aligning. And we go there and we meet with this doctor and I give him I had my charts emailed over. Like it was like, boom, boom, boom. Everything was emailed over. And he just broke it down and he was just like, this is what I would do differently. And he had a different plan. And at this point, you know, I think advocating for yourself is so important. If you're like going on and you feel like you're going in circles, I didn't know how to advocate for myself initially because I didn't know anything about the IVF process, which is why it's so good that you do what you do to educate women and like help people understand this process. So I just said to him, I was like, I need a doctor who's going to partner with me, like who's going to say, I'm going to help you do this differently. Like, I really want you to get pregnant. Like, you know, I don't want to just be a number. And I was just telling him all these feelings that I was feeling. And he was so compassionate and he listened and he told me all the ways he would do it differently. He showed us the lab and I was like, holy shit. Like the lab was, oh my God, it didn't feel like a doctor's office. Everything was like gorgeous, brand new.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Hearing you describe how comfy the chairs, like the vibrating chairs and it's so cozy and snacks and stuff. Right?
Oh yeah. They had snacks. They had a coffee bar. They had, I mean, it was just like, the girls that drew your blood, they like would walk you in, they would walk you out and they would like, I mean, it was like ridiculous. It was so cool. And I remember leaving there thinking, well, I don't know what's going to happen. He's like, okay, like, you know, we have a lot of cases to review and we'll like be in touch. And I was just like, okay, we did not get this. We did not win this. I mean, if we did, that'd be cool. But in my head, I was like, I would like to do this anyway here. You know, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And we're like halfway home. We're like an hour or so into the drive. And I get a call. And they're like, you won.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
We were like, what the heck? We just won a free IVF cycle. I mean, in New York City, it was like probably like a $25,000 blessing.
Oh, wow. And then was monitoring out there too, or could you do that closer to home?
No, it was all there.
Okay.
So I stayed up there with my friends and I stayed there for like a week and a half. And then Todd came up for like closer to egg retrieval. And we stayed in an extended stay hotel. It was like across the street from the office. And we brought the dog. Like we were just like bunking up for a week in New York.
Okay.
And we did it. We did all the monitoring. We did the whole egg retrieval and we did it.
That's
and
incredible. Yeah. Tell us where you're at. What's the latest?
Well, I'm literally 9 months pregnant right now. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked. I mean, there were setbacks along that way too. I had to have some surgeries or one surgery. I had like a wall in my uterus and, you know, I had to take care of that. The doctor was very, preventative. Like he was like, you've come so far. I would hate for this embryo to implant on this wall where there's no blood flow, you know? He's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
so let's,
how many embryos did you get on that round? Do you mind sharing?
yeah, no, so we had 7 embryos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we had 16 follicles and we ended up with 7 embryos, which was like, yeah, okay. And then 2 were viable and 1 is unknown because they didn't have like enough of a cell to test it. So we have like a wild card.
I love it.
And I remember getting the call from the doctor and he was like, okay, I have the results. And I like that he called me, you know, and he said, do you want to know the sex of the embryos? And I was like, I just want to know, are they the same sex or are they opposite sex? And he was like, they're opposite. And I was like, I was so excited. I was hysterical. It was just like the best moment. And I was like, this is going to work. This is going to work. This is happening.
December 2021. You're like, I have 2 embryos, 2 healthy
Wow.
embryos.
I love how you have this whole timeline. It's so great.
I was going back because it's just so amazing what you've gone through up to this point. And gosh, I mean, you had a lot of earth angels, like people kind of guiding you along the way through friends. And did you know a lot of people that had gone through IVF, or were you kind of like, you know?
I mean, I felt like you were one of my earth angels who like sent me a book and like guided me that way and like were supporting me along the journey. And my friend who works for Spring was really like my guide too. Like she was like my mentor through the whole thing.
What were you doing outside too? Acupuncture? Were you doing Reiki? Like all the
Yeah,
things?
I was doing Reiki. I was doing acupuncture. I was doing body work twice a month. I was getting like my organs massage and like releasing the fascia around my uterus. And I was meditating. I was doing, you know, my journaling. I was praying. I was eating really, really clean, super clean. I was doing like a medical medium cleanse. Like when we were getting closer to transfer time, I was drinking celery juice for like weeks and weeks, but that was part of my journey because I don't know if you felt this way, but I had this belief like anything that I put in my body was like impacting my fertility, almost to like my detriment, where if I had a glass of wine, I'd be like, oh, that's ruining my fertility, or like, you know what I mean? Like I was a little obsessive about it, I think. And looking back, I mean, eating the way that I'm eating now in pregnancy, which is just basically it's healthy, but it's also just whatever my body wants and needs, like a lot of carbs. I mean, I feel like I wasn't eating as much as I'm eating now, obviously, because I'm eating differently now. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about a vision board at one point. There were a lot of things you were doing to call your baby in.
Yeah, I had a vision board, and I also on the back of my phone. Do you see this picture of this woman?
Yes. Yes.
She's pregnant. And I had that there, and I had affirmations on my phone. Like I have this I am app, and it says that like all the affirmations I need. I'm having the best pregnancy. Like I was manifesting it ahead of time. I trust my body. I trust my baby. I trust God. I'm worthy of being a mother and experiencing unconditional love and all that. And I think something else that was really powerful that I did was right before I went into transfer process. I went to this like sound healing, and it was a releasing sound healing. And we wrote down what we're releasing. And I just wrote one thing down, and I wrote, I release infertility.
Awesome.
And it was like, I could like cry thinking about it. It was like so impactful for me. And I put in the fire, and I was like, this is the end of that story for me. It's not my story anymore.
It's so beautiful. We talked about a miracle mindset too. I know you read in the book, and I was always encouraging you along the way.
Yeah.
In that possibility.
Totally.
For you.
Yeah. And it really does make a difference. It can be so hard to like shift into that mindset. But once you make that shift of like, this is all happening for you. This is like, my dreams are coming true right now. Like this is happening for me. It
Mhm.
really does make such a huge difference.
For women that, because I know it took a while to get here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of women who are in that place of just trying to hold on, trying to hold on to themselves and just keep their dreams alive. And do you have any words like
Yeah.
speak to those women who are just like, it's you shared how hard like this time was last year, right? October,
Yeah.
look at Halloween pictures, and we just had Halloween. It's like wanting that so badly.
Totally. Everything.
Things had triggered you at that time a lot, and I know you're in a different place now.
Sure. Yeah, no, and I can relate to those triggers so much. Even like one of my best friends, her daughter just had her second birthday and it's October 30th. And a year ago, I went to her first birthday party and I left there and I was just sobbing. I was like, I just can't believe it. Like all my friends had kids. It was just so hard. Like, it was just like so hard. And I wasn't jealous. I wasn't feeling like that. I was just feeling like, why me? Why not me? You know what I mean? Like, why? It was more about me, not them. You know what I mean? Why can't I have that? What's wrong with me? There's so like you bring that up in the book a lot. It's so hard not to think like there's something wrong with you. Um, and so if you're experiencing all those feelings right now, just know that like all those feelings, they want to be released. They want to come out. They don't want to live inside of you, because if they're there, they want to be brought out to the light. And so I think for me, a big help was letting myself have those moments of crying and letting myself have those moments of, feeling sorry for myself, having a pity party, like all of that's okay. Cause to me, it's like the more we can release what is holding us back and holding us down, the lighter we can become in our energy field and in our lives to be able to call in what we truly want. So allowing yourself to feel all those feelings is so key, not to push them down. And if you feel like you're living in them every day and you're like, oh, okay, well, I do feel those feelings all the time, then I think it's a matter of shifting the energy of like, how, excuse me, how can I reframe
Mhm.
what this means right now? Because we're always giving our emotions meaning, right? We're always making meaning out of our life. And so if we can reframe what it means, like, to me, it's like we're getting closer, you know, like we're getting closer to what we want, even if it feels a million miles away, which I know that feeling of feeling like it could be a million miles away. But what if it was like you getting closer every single time you took a step, every single time you decided to like go for a walk and clear your mind, or every single time you decided to like, take care of yourself when you feel like you're down. Yeah.
I remember buying a shirt along the way, and it was every day brings me closer to you. And it
Oh,
grew with my belly. It was a pregnancy shirt that every day, I just knew I was getting closer and closer.
oh my God, that's so beautiful. I love that so much. I remember during our second egg retrieval, we went like right before the egg retrieval, we were in New York. And so I thought, what would be like fun to like get my mind off of how tomorrow's going to go, or like how it's going to go for the egg retrieval. And so we went and we got like really cheap Broadway tickets to like a bunch of shows. So we saw two shows in a row, like 2 nights in a row. And the one show was called Jagged Little Pill. It was such a good show. Oh my God. The Alanis Morissette musical. So good.
Really? Oh my gosh.
And you know how she sings that song, Alanis Morissette, you've already won me
Yeah.
over inside of. So we had to take the trigger shot at like 10 p.m. It was like right when the show ended. So we go into the basement where the bathrooms are, and I bring the needle with me. I'm like, no shame. Like, people are going to think I'm like,
Shooting up.
but yeah, I shot my needle up in my stomach. Todd went to the bathroom, and I'm just sitting there and I'm staring at the sweatshirts and the t-shirts. And there was this onesie and it said, you already won me over. And I was like, don't buy it. No, buy it. No, don't. You don't want to jinx it. It's okay. This is a moment. You should buy it. This is the conversation in my head. And I'm like, no, I really shouldn't buy it. Oh, it's only $25. Just buy it. This is a special moment. Like, just buy it.
I love that you speak to that. I too was listening to those little whispers, those little nudges of like, one day I want to give this to my little one. That
Yeah.
little fire, that light that lights you up inside as you're pregnant and as you're moving forward on this path, like listen to those and buy the little thing that speaks to you. If it excites you, gets you in that
Vibe.
vibe.
It
Yes.
got me in the vibe for sure. And I was like so excited that I got it. And, now we're setting up the room and I'm washing all the clothes and I'm like, I
Mhm.
just saw the onesie and I was just like crying. I was like, oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah, it's
Little
so wild.
symbols that like that just help kind of ground us and keep a sense of that hope alive, right?
I think it's the balance between, when you're manifesting anything, it's like, well, what if I put all this attention on like, acting like this is going to happen, but then what if it doesn't happen? And it's like that balance of managing your own expectation, but also allowing your dreams to like be bigger and
Mhm.
allowing the vision to be bigger and allowing that energy to like take over, you know?
No, I love that you
Um,
speak so much about manifestation, energy. That's why we jive with each other,
yeah, totally.
being soul
There,
sisters.
there was something else there that I wanted to say, but I can't, it'll come back to me.
Something about letting go. I mean, there's such an element of this holding on, but also surrendering to just allowing this unfolding, however it's gonna happen. How are you gonna be? You knew you were gonna be a mom some way or another. Like it's gonna
Some
happen.
way or another. I think that, yeah, it was along those lines of like, oh, I was gonna say, you know, everything I'm telling you was literally a year ago. Okay.
Wow.
I had no idea that I would be here a year later,
Yeah.
about to give birth. Like, I just want to say that because there's miracles can happen in such a short time. Like a year is such a short time. It can feel like forever when you're going through shit, right? But really, like, it's such a short time. Anything's possible. Like anything can happen, anything's possible. And so it's just a matter of really believing in that,
Mhm.
really letting yourself believe that like it can happen, it is possible. Um, just it like kind of blows me away just thinking 1 year.
Yeah. Your life has shifted for the better in a huge way.
A
In your
huge
belly.
way.
You're 38 weeks today, right?
38 weeks. Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. So just wherever you are, just know that so much can change in a year and your time is coming. Like it is coming.
Yeah.
It
I'm
really
so
is.
honored to have this talk with you. And it's, I know one of your last few talks before going on
Maternity leave.
maternity.
Yeah.
Any reflections on just becoming a mom and what you're looking forward to?
Oh
Just
my God. I just keep imagining like when they put that baby on my chest and that feeling, that feeling of just love, that pure love, unconditional love. And a huge thing that I had realized along the way was that a big block for me personally was just believing that I wasn't worthy of love, like unconditional love. And it was like a generational pattern in my family. Like my mom had that feeling, my grandparents, and it's in my lineage. And so I had I had this huge breakthrough in the middle of the second IVF cycle about this like worthiness of love. And I think it really transformed the way that I love myself and the love that I can give to my partner and just like really embracing the love that's coming into our life. So I'm just really, I can't imagine I can only imagine what it's going to feel like,
oh my, life
at that
changing.
experience. Yeah. Life changing.
Love like you just I've never experienced before. I can't wait
Yeah.
to have a talk with you when you're holding your little one in your
I
arms.
know. And it scares me too, right? Because it's like, whoa, this is it. Like the other night I was crying, just like, I'm so excited and I'm so scared, like I've wanted this for
Scary
so long. Just,
about
just like not labor even, just like raising a human, like raising a good human. And like, I just want this guy to be so happy and so healthy and so loved and just all good things for him. And it's
mm,
just, I don't ultimately have control over his destiny. It's just like, he's on his own journey and his own path.
Counsel. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
So
bringing big coach energy, right? You're gonna have big baby energy.
big baby energy for sure.
Oh
Yeah.
my. And tell people how they can connect with you if they'd like to learn more
Yeah.
about you. I'll have more in the notes, but
Yeah, a little. And so that's another thing is like I'm going on maternity leave. I have my own business.
Mhm.
I run a coaching business and I have a certification program and we certify coaches and all these modalities. And it's really it's grown so much. And I've never stepped away. Like I'm about to step away from my business. So that's a whole nother learning thing. But yeah, I would love to connect with you. I'm on Instagram at thequantum.coach. Our program is called the Quantum Coaching Academy. And I have a website, thequantum.coach. Like that is the website, thequantum.coach. So find me, connect with me. If you have a story to share, I would love to hear it. I feel like it's part of my mission to help other women now on their IVF journey and their fertility journey. Like just as as a friend, like people that reach out to me, certain friends have reached out to me, even people that like internet friends, they're like, I'm about to do IVF and I have no idea what to do. And of course I'll send them your book.
I watched the videos too, all those YouTube videos that you were like, I'm binging your
Oh yeah. I was binging your whole YouTube channel. Yeah. Such good information. You have such amazing resources. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, I just adore you and so glad that we're friends, through.
Yes, we're internet friends.
Oh,
Yeah, me too. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you for the work that you're doing in the world and the way that you're helping so many people on their journey. It's like, it's invaluable. It really is, like, to have someone who understands, who can guide you, who can help you keep your mind, your heart, your soul on this path. Like, I know that's what you do. And it's amazing.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
Love you.
Thank you. Love you. Thank you.